Hey guys, welcome to Module 3 of Access. Our vets now has a database with about 5 different tables. Last week, we learned all about how to query or search for information that we're looking for. So what is this week about? Well, now we're really trying to dig in and grab information from that database. And let me just show you maybe what's happening. For example, maybe one person needs to, make some changes and add a few people, or maybe someone moved out of the area and they're no longer going to, have us see their dog or cat. Maybe we want to change the appearance, or maybe we want to do a fast update of all the queries all at once. Or who knows, maybe we need to change the structure of the table. And one of the most important things, create validation rules. In other words, make sure they don't put in garbage information from the start. So let's go ahead and open your VETS starter file that's in SAM MindTap, and we'll go from there. The first thing that we want to take care of inside of CMF VETS is to create something called a split form. Split form is kind of like half a table and half of a form. So let's do it for veterinarian vendors. Click right here very first. Go to the Create tab, and when you look in Forms, remember we said we're creating a split form. Right here I don't see split form, but that means I just simply need to click on More Forms and head on down to Split Form. It creates it automatically. It takes our 5 vendors that we work with and puts them down here in a table. Up here we have just the very first record representing Duncan Veterinarian Supplies. And of course down here we can click through our multiple records, and notice as I click on one down here to the 4th one, we get Rodriguez Vet Supplies right here. So we can go back and forth. Next, let's save this. And this time I'm going to save a different way to show you different options. Do you notice up here there's a little floppy disk symbol? I probably have never seen a floppy disk. But if we click right here, we can then also name it. I'm going to call it the Veterinarian Vendors. And in this case, just add the word split form. Good, we've got that saved. Now, while using this split form, we have a new vendor that we want to work with. So what I want to do is come down here and first click this arrow with this yellow little splat. If I hover over it, it says New Blank Record. And when I do that, I'm adding a new record, and don't add it up here. You have to type it down here. What's interesting about this is I'm going to go ahead and type in the 6th record, brand new. Make sure you type it down here. The word new, you don't have to change it to number 6 because it's auto numbered. It'll just turn into number 6. But I've typed in Global Pet Supply, 1000 Western Way, Dallas, Texas, 7001, feline leukemia. Whoops, let me fix that spelling here real quick. Vaccine 50N0. Now, as soon as I hit tab, notice it appears up at the top. So let's move on to our next step. Next, I want to search for a record. Now, I want to explain how this is different than doing a query like we did last week. Searching means you're just looking for records temporarily that meet some kind of criteria. For example, I'm looking for the veterinarian vendor that sells microchips is an example of searching for a query. I'm not going to save it and do it over and over again, just for this moment. So I'm going to click right here in Veterinarian Supply on feline rabies vaccine. And I'm going to now head up and click on the Home tab of my ribbon and come over here to the Find group and click this Find. Kind of looks like a magnifying glass. And when I do, I'm going to type in that I'm looking for microchips, and it doesn't matter if this is uppercase or lowercase. I'm looking in the current field. I want to match that whole field all. So let's hit Find Next, and it comes on down here and says, hey, here's May Supply Corporation, and they're one of the ones that help me out with microchips. So now I can easily find that. If I hit Find Next, if there was another one, I'd come back to it, but it says I'm done searching. Now next, I want to update the record. And in this case, even though I'm doing it here in the split form, I'm going to go ahead and close that. I want to do something to Mays Supply Corporation. Notice, first of all, corporation is misspelled, but it turns out that they are now considered an LLC, a limited liability corporation. Pretty common term in business. So I'm going to come down to the bottom and backspace over corporation and put capital L, capital C. And now I've got this updated, and here's what I want you to understand. I haven't just updated the split form. Anytime this particular Mays Supply LLC is mentioned anywhere, it will be updated and fixed as well. It also turns out, I'm going to go ahead and hit tab there and make that change. I want to delete a record. It turns out the company called Sanchez has been providing us with an inferior product, and our vets don't want to use this supplier, so we're going to delete this record. Now, typically, if we were in Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, if you delete something and you change your mind, just come up here and hit undo, that left curly arrow. But databases are different, and here's why. Remember, they save as they go. At the end, we don't have to go to File, Save As, and save the database. We just close it using this upper X. So if we make a change, it's automatically changed, and there's no way we can undo it. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to click in this gray box in front of the number 5. I am going to hit the delete key on my keyboard, and it says, hey, you're about to delete one record. But read underneath. If it says, if you click yes, you won't be able to undo this delete operation. Why? It's saving as we're going. So they're really, really gone. If this were example to say you're about to delete 6 records, you'd lose them all. So be careful that it has the right number. I'm going to go ahead and click there and get rid of that. Let me go ahead and close this, and I want to show you no matter where I go, whether I'm in the tables, when I go to veterinarian vendors, notice Sanchez is gone, Mays Supply is an LLC, and we have the new Global Pet Supply, even though down here is that form. So now it's saved throughout. There's another way we can filter and look up information as well. I'm going to open the veterinarian vendors table once again. And this time I'm going to click on Blanding on that second record, anywhere on Blanding. And I'm going to go up to a group called Sort and Filter. There's several tools here I want to show you that could really help us finding. Now, guys, I know we only have 5 whole records here. It says 5 right down here. But in real life, you might have 5 million, and trying to find something can be daunting. So these sort and filter tools can really help. Let me show you how to use the selection tool. I'm going to click selection right here. And notice we can do equals Blanding and find the records that have that comment, or do the reverse, does not equal, or just contains Blanding in some way or does not. Let's go with equals Blanding. And you can see I have 2 vendors who meet that qualification. I know that I have 2, it says 2 down here, but notice 2 other little aspects. Look at this, is city is yellow, and do you see that little filter symbol that I'm circling with my mouse? And look down here, it's telling you that these aren't all your records, these are just the ones that met the filter. Why is this important? If your boss walked in right now and said, hey, how many vendors are we working with right now? You don't want to look here and go, oh, we're working with 2. No, we're working with a lot more than that. So we can now get everyone up. Back up here is a term under sort and filter called toggle filter. Toggle just means to flip it back to where it was, like a light switch. So let me click toggle filter. Notice we no longer have that yellow symbol for a filter. And look down here, it now says unfiltered, meaning we have everyone. And if I want to make sure that filter is kind of gone, I can go under advanced and clear all filters, and then they'll no longer be there. I also want to show you how to use some common filters that we might use. Next to city right up here, I want you to notice that there's a little drop down arrow. Do you see that? Next to this field, I'm going to drop down this little arrow next to city. And as I do, we get all of this listing. What I want to do right here is I want to open a text filter that finds anything that begins with a certain letter. In fact, I want to find any of the records that begin with a B as in boy. This is kind of like doing a query. Remember, we used a wildcard, but we don't need that here. Let me show you. So if I hit begin with, I can now type a B, lowercase or uppercase, put the, now just click OK. We don't need the asterisk here like a wild card. And it just finds anyone that starts with a B. We can also, let me go ahead and toggle that filter back off. Next, I want to go into something called an advanced sort. So I'm going to click right here under advanced, and I'm going to select filter by form. What filter by form does is let me kind of dig into the information. I want to get rid of this like business for B, but I'm going to come over here under quantity and let me put in greater than 75. This is just a quick way to search for that. And now when I go ahead and toggle my filter, it shows me I do have one that is over 75. Do you see that little symbol right there for filter? And we have it filter data. We have 100 is clearly bigger than 75 for our micro sort there. Now let's do one more advanced filter to kind of put all these concepts together. So first, let me go back to advanced and clear all filters to get rid of everything. Notice it no longer says filter down there. And I'm going to go back to advanced and do one that we haven't done before. Under advanced, we're going to pick advanced filter sort. And it kind of looks like a query, doesn't it? So what we're going to do on this one is double click on vendor name. We're going to sort it by ascending or alphabetical. I'm going to double click state, and I'm just going to make the criteria. I'm looking for Colorado, so I'll put in CO for Colorado. And I'm also concerned about the quantity, and I want to find anything in this case that is greater than 75 or less than 40. So either it's greater than 75 or way less than 40. Of course, can't be both. So now I can toggle the filter. And my results, let's double check. In this case, notice something. You say, well, how did Utah get on there? How it works is that Colorado, we put on the same line as greater than 75. So we were either looking for Colorado where it's greater than 75, in this case it's 100, but on our OR line, we only had one criteria, not Colorado. All we were looking for something is less than, in our case, that it was less than 40, and in this case it was 25. So if you're doing some really advanced filtering, and you do this a lot at companies, maybe you're looking for customers who haven't paid in the last 30 days, you also want to send to certain states today, all the billing at that point in time. Hey, let's toggle the filter back off. We'll go advanced, clear our filters, close these up. Let's go ahead and take a break right now and come back with the next movie.